Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video. Now, welcome to a Challenge Spectate. Today we are watching a Kassadin. So today's video and why we're watching him is it's for the simple question: is Kassadin actually broken? So this is something that has been in the community for a little while. I don't know if it's divisive when it comes to ratings. I don't know if this is something like silver, gold players are like, yo, he's broken, or it's just a high rating thing. But every single time a patch note comes about, every single time, guarantee, I'm looking for Kassadin nerfs. And a lot of people are. And you go on Reddit or even Twitter, and you can see high rating players go, again, he doesn't get nerfed. Now, the reason why he doesn't get nerfed, by the way, or what I think, is I do believe that the riot balance is no longer done by humans. I know this sounds crazy, but I actually believe it's mainly done by an algorithm or like robots, because it's to me, and it's even how Riot has explained it, is like they have certain parameters that if a champion goes out of those parameters, then we'll do something about it, whether it be a buff or a nerf. I guess Kassadin doesn't go within those parameters of what Riot has in place. Just to make the point clear, if Riot's parameter goes off overall win rate, then Kassadin will not get hit. And this may be some people like go, well, there you go, it's not a problem. Kassadin's overall win rate, which overall win rate is judged, I believe, from Platinum and above, is currently, in essence, 51%, which obviously isn't crazy. But what I think a lot of people tend to ignore is his ban rate is currently 27%. That's very high. And pretty much every single time, or at least in my experience, Kassadin isn't banned. Boom, he's picked. Meanwhile, first blood in bot lane for the old blue team. But that's been my experience. And eventually, you know, the champion's Kassadin, when he gets his two items, Seraphs and Rod, he becomes Kassadin. That is in essence what I've always experienced, and we'll see potentially in this game. And do remember that this is a challenger game. All the players are fantastic players. Viger is very good at usually not dying because he's got his E. That's a relatively good safety net around him. So remember, challenger, this isn't like just any old rating. These are the best players in Europe. And let's see what Kassadin can do eventually. And that's one thing to note, is if a Kassadin is trying to play aggressive in the early game, it probably isn't going to go that well. The best Kassadins, or even not even the best, the average Kassadins who know what they're doing will play relatively passive. Meanwhile, there's a play happening in topside. You can see the Viger was teleporting, by the way. There is a replay bug right now, but yeah, he was teleporting. If I'm not mistaken, Kassadin could have stopped that. His Q is a... it can get rid of channeled abilities, and I believe obviously teleport would be cancelled by that. But Kassadin chooses not to stop him. Now, why doesn't Kassadin do that? Clearly on purpose. Well, it seems that the blue team is fine. That teleport was to save the life of them diving the Aatrox. But why doesn't Kassadin want to stop that? Well, look what just happened in mid. When is Kassadin's hardest time to play the game? Early lane phase. He's a melee. He needs items, he needs to scale, so sure, let his opponent go with teleport. He'll stay in mid lane, get a couple waves for free, no poke on him, no hassle, no stress, get him to level 6 without much worries. That's the idea. So not surprised that he doesn't stop the Viger TP. We did just see Pyke mid, by the way, and you can see the Kassadin's being passive, probably because there is still no vision of Pyke in bot lane. So right now, again, we could just do it for a bit of fun. Let's go for all, and there's the Pyke. I probably presume, give it 5 seconds ago when Kassadin was still playing passive, this Pyke was probably around here, let's be honest. So the Kassadin is purposely playing a bit passive to make sure he isn't prey for a gank. Because, yeah, he would probably survive it right now. He's got flash up. But why flash? Why risk it when you're playing a scaling champion? You don't have to. And that's, again, a lot of people always ask me what are some difference with the ratings. What's the difference between gold and platinum, or platinum and diamond? There's a vast amount of differences, but one good one is patience, especially depending what champion you're playing. If you're playing a hyper-scaling late-game champion, be patient, scale. And obviously on Kassadin, that's what you're looking to do. And to be even basically with the Viger at this stage of the game is very good going by a Kassadin, and it already does show that, yeah, that we're in probably for a Kassa win performance. So he's popping his first corrupting potion, by the way. Hasn't even got poked that much, but in all honesty, it hasn't even been that Viger, like, hasn't been poking. It's more that he's just been missing, because Viger has been mainly looking to poke with his W, and just hasn't really been working for him. So, red team getting a couple kills. You know, clearly the game is actually in red team's favor right now, 4-1. Gold-wise, nearly getting to 1,000 gold lead is red team in the early game. When it comes to scaling, by the way, arguably, if you forget about Kassadin, arguably red team outscales, because if you look at top lane, well, Pantheon naturally falls off compared to an Aatrox. Rek'Sai and Nidalee's kind of close, but in different ways. Viger technically has unlimited scaling. Ezreal probably gets outscaled to a Kai'Sa, but Pyke, again, Pyke and Senna is also a kind of close one. If a Senna doesn't get caught, maybe, but again, Pyke, very good mid to late game, basically like an actual assassin, let alone a support in the late game. So you can see the first bit of aggression there by Kassadin, gonna go aggressive, so literally level 6, instant aggression, and nearly kills his lane opponent instantly. Just to remind everybody of items that Kassadin currently owns, when it comes to actually having ability power, he has 28 ability power right now. He has a Dark Seal. That's it. Yep. Just wait for him. Again, it's why I'm not even kidding. The champion is Kassadin. Like, that's his name. When you reach a certain point, if you're a smart Kassadin player, obviously, sure, you're not going to win every single game, because especially with Season 10, there's a lot of players that are just pretty bad. But if you're smart at Kassadin, you scale well, your individual win rate will be much higher than 51%. Again, the reason why his overall win rate is probably only 51% is most Kassadins, even in Platinum, aren't probably great. They are impatient, or they just don't let themselves scale. Furthermore, with his ban rate being so high, any people that main Kassadin or one-trick him or like just want to play him in challenge or whatever, they're obviously not being able to play him either because he's banned all the time. Meanwhile, Pyke you can start to see is roaming heavily. But yeah, like again, this overall win rate to me, I really hope that that is not the parameter Riot goes off to do balance, because that would actually really worry me. But in a weird way, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because there's a reason that Kassadin, I guess, hasn't been nerfed for literally months, even though he needs to be, which again you'll see throughout this game. Kai'Sa gets herself caught. 1 and 3 already is the Kai'Sa. Again, game is not looking good for red team at all. Aatrox, however, is struggling quite badly in top lane. You can see Rek'Sai is actually putting time into top. Nice kill by Rek'Sai, is probably going to be dead, is dead. Questionable if that's worth it or not. Maybe, because obviously you're leaving Aatrox in top lane, but now Nidalee is chasing him down. But yeah, again, whenever you see like a difference of this, by the way, at this level of challenger, my only prediction of what I would say, autofill, right? That's my prediction. I guess we can check for a bit of fun. Meanwhile, again, the good thing about Kassadin versus Viger, he is actually getting absolutely bonked, and he doesn't... What just happened there was a Kassadin didn't respect the Viger's damage. He should have left. Has flash up, could have flashed away, could have ulted away. I think he was maybe looking to go aggressive, and that's the point. Why Kassadin's win rate isn't 65%, which, let's be honest, by the strength of the champion, it probably could be in the 60s. But the players are the player of Kassadin is the reason why the win rate isn't insane. Like mistakes like that. If the Kassadin just continue being patient, don't get caught, then there's no worries at all. But players aren't perfect. All right, we're gonna find this game. Bear with me, and then we'll have a look and see. Because obviously, yeah, with the by the way, worth noting, look at the farm. Yes, Viger's now got a solo kill, but it's a ranged versus melee matchup, and Kassadin is out farming. It just shows how usually safe a Kassadin is in lane, which is a very, very, very scary prospect. Right, where are this game? I will find it momentarily. Roam happening again. Pyke in top lane. Does seem that the Pyke may have given up on the Ezreal or something. I've got no idea because he is just roaming 24/7. Right, let me find this game. Where are we? Again, it's always hard to actually find the specific one. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Do-do-do-do. When was this game played? Alright, so Nidalee gets a kill on the Aatrox. So there definitely does seem to be some type of bullying happening on the Aatrox, or like targeting on him. Weirdly though, obviously 0-2-0-1 only has died once, but it's the farm difference. Center ultimate coming to top lane. Pyke is still top lane, by the way. Rek'Sai gets a kill on the Pantheon. Kassadin went for an engage. Again, has to be careful. Walks in to the stun. Should have maybe got punished a bit, but that is also a level down. Keep watching though. While I keep looking. Is that the game? That's the game. Okay, let's have a look. Top lane. Is the Aatrox autofilled or not? Again, naturally worth noting, Pyke actually goes hyper-aggressive and gets the Nidalee. So yeah, red team very much winning this game. Oh, actually, gold-wise, somehow it's caught up. So the... Oh, there we go. Aatrox is a top lane main, but he's just getting hyper-focused. Naturally, as we were going to mention, Pantheon will have the advantage over Aatrox later. Again, Pantheon is an early scaling champion that falls off. Aatrox is kind of the opposite. But I guess, you know, this Aatrox is just playing overly passive, or has to, in a weird way. Maybe the pressure of the Pantheon is just too much. And there has been quite a lot of focus in top side already. Arguably the most. Like, Pyke has been top lane a bunch. Nidalee's been top lane a bunch. Rek'Sai's been top lane a bunch. So it's been a bit weird so far in top lane, which is quite the opposite of what normally League is. Veigar's got to be careful, actually. Bad positioning by him. Again, he's going to have flash to maybe look to get away. But remember, you're laning against the Kassadin, and his overstaying got himself killed. And that's the type of thing, man, that you really can't afford to do against a Kassadin. We've had games not even that long ago, winning the game, and then suddenly Kassadin has completed his 2 items and he starts killing everything and we lose the game. And I'm not even kidding. I've had games of Kassadin solo winning games. And it's like, okay, that's fun. And you may see it throughout this game of like just how much sheer damage this champion can do. And just reminding people, I haven't watched this game before. You guys are experiencing this for the first time with me. The only thing that I have knowledge of is obviously the end result and how much damage the Kassadin did. Like, you know, the graph. So yeah. Item build. Getting close to the Rod of Ages. Meanwhile, Kai'Sa goes down, furthering a little bit of a gold lead for red team. Also, by the way, Pantheon went down, is now 0-4. Double kill, actually. So yeah, this game is not looking good at all for blue team. Arguably, they get outscaled. Because of the Veigar and the the Aatrox and you know, even the Rek'Sai, to be honest. So what can happen? We'll have to continue to watch and see. And remember, the title of this video is basically we're using this replay to try and answer the question: do I believe Kassadin is broken? And for some reason, is just getting completely ignored in the balance. Again, some people will also put Vladimir in this kind of line of thought. I partially agree, but I honestly think Kassadin is worse than Vladimir in terms of balance. But yeah. So Veigar managing to catch up a little bit in farm. Might be getting himself caught though again. Remember, doesn't have flash. And I'll be honest, for a challenger game, I'm not incredibly impressed with the quality so far. So yeah, gets himself nearly one shot already at level 10 by the Kassadin. But yeah, I'm not, for a challenger game, maybe this was played at really early hours in the morning. Because it seems like a lot of people are kind of getting caught or, you know, playing a bit lazy. Like, why was that Veigar overstaying that much against the Kassadin when he doesn't have flash? Like, sure, he got roamed on by a Senna, but even without Senna, there was a chance for Kassadin to catch him there. With Kassadin ult and Veigar doesn't have flash. Also, Pantheon dying now, 0-5 in top lane. Aatrox now finally overtaken the farm. Pyke again in top side, by the way. So this has been a very, very weird game that bot lane is getting heavily punished. The Ezreal has died again. They are literally getting to the tier 2, but Pyke is permanently in top. So I don't... what you have to sometimes remember is players have histories with each other. Some players like each other, some players don't. Some players respect each other, some players don't. And you can see actually on the enemy team, that's XL Kasing. I don't know if he technically still plays anymore. He might have been subbed out, but he's with XL. I think he was the support of XL. And that's SK Limit, I'm presuming an SK player. You never know if those two just don't get along. And again, maybe they do, and this game is just a weird example. But like, it is a bit weird that the Pyke is just refusing practically to lane with the Ezreal. Anyway, Viger getting himself caught again. You can see the patience from the Kassadin works out in the end. Pyke now coming through. Very weird flash by Kai'Sa. That was a double use of summoners at the same time. I guess fat-fingered maybe. Because I presume they only wanted to use heal there, but ended up using heal and flash at the exact same time. Pyke doesn't manage to get the execute though, so that's good for blue team. And a little bit of recovery has happened for blue. Gold-wise, they actually have taken somehow the... Well, they're even now. I guess because one, the tower. Farm-wise, it's not actually like Rek'Sai's out farming. Yes, there's a bit out farming in mid lane. There's a bit out farming in bot, but then top lane, the Aatrox has taken over. So I don't think farm has really been what is separating these teams anymore. It's arguably towers, I guess, from all the tower plates early. Because obviously nowadays, this is on current patch, tower plates are worth more now. Pantheon continuing top, probably shouldn't be doing that. Needs to most likely back away. Aatrox and bot side going to get up their second tower, so that brings the gold back to being basically even. And the next dragon is probably going to be quite a big one. Both teams have won. Again, out of these two, Infernal and Cloud, it's always kind of weird nowadays. And I'd actually say, personally, I never used to be a big fan of all like the dragons. I'm more of a fan of them now because, I don't know, their buffs just feel more impactful, all four of them. You know, whenever, last year or whatever, before the Elemental update, it always felt terrible if you got, like, a dragon that you just particularly didn't want. Well, now, all four of them are great. You know, they're given different things, and maybe you'd prefer one of them. But, in all honesty, I think Cloud Dragon used to be the weakest. It might even be the second strongest now. Like, ultimate cooldown is such a big deal for so many champions. Once again, by the way, Viger overstaying. Very weird. The enemy team is going to look to try and counter this play, though. Kassadin needs to be a bit careful. Going to just go for a pretty big engage. Gets himself stunned, though. Straight up just murders the Pyke. It kind of looked like he just walked through Viger either. That was a bit weird. But there's a bad fight going on here. They actually clean up. Kai'Sa was mid lane the whole time, did kill the Ezreal, but overall, red team come out on top. Gold-wise, though, not a massive lead, if in fact, blue team maintains the gold lead right now, even though they are 5 kills behind, and this does show how important towers are. You can maintain gold lead with being 5 kills down by simply having just 2 more towers than the opposing team. That's pretty big. Anyway, enemy team does seem that they're chasing down the Kai'Sa as much as they can. There was a teleport over here. Rek'Sai is definitely rushing it. Kassadin is coming very close to the Rek'Sai. A little bit maybe desperation play. She is going to get herself killed. Aatrox now around. Does get the kill though, does the Kassadin. And remember, every time that you're giving this Kassadin a kill, he is becoming more and more and more Kassa win. So you might not think, oh, you might like, oh, dude, we got a trade. That's not too bad. It's not exactly a neutral trade when the person you're giving kills to is a Kassadin. So Nidalee gets a nice kill. He's just playing a bit safe. They're going to go over the Aatrox. They do get it in the end. Nearly gets the E on the Ezreal. Not quite. Nice spear. Kassadin going to chase down. Can he get the kill? Will Ezreal have flash up? He does. Kassadin going to continue. Remember, every single ultimate he does, it's ramping more and more damage. He's nearly going to die. He probably isn't going to die unless the minions get him, which they don't. Very close to getting that kill, but obviously Ezreal, as a champion, has incredibly good mobility with also flashing. If that was any other AD carry, they were probably dead, let's be honest. Kassadin's going to go back now, though, and do remember that Kassadin has got his 2 core items complete. He's got his rod, and he's got his, well, not Seraphs yet, technically. This is an Archangels. So, in essence, he's got them ready when the 10-minute mark lands of buying that Rod of Ages, when it gets all 10 stacks, is roughly when his Seraphs will probably be coming online when Archangels upgrades. That's when you're kind of looking at Kassadin starting to take over. And again, this isn't just this replay. This is, again, I'm predicting. This is just Kassadin right now. So, worth noting, Kassadin's farm has dropped a bit. 20 down on with the Viger, which he was roughly 20 up. Aatrox now walking without any vision. Questionable. Pyke now also in a bit of a questionable position. Misses his Q. Maybe a bit more damage could have happened there. Pantheon maybe needs to come up. The Ezreal gets caught again, but look at Kai'Sa's positioning. Completely in the wrong place at the wrong time. But they managed to pick the Viger with a bit of distraction. Kassadin now going to be looking for these, you know, picks Watch his positioning, never to fully commit. He's going to be walking in and out of the team fight and just waiting for the right opportunity. The enemy team is going to be herding themselves into a pretty weird position here. Kassadin gets one. He's going to just wait around. Enemy team aren't focusing him. Senna gets another one, and that will now open up the dragon. So, weirdly, this game, the Kassadin is now 6-1. No one is focusing him. No one. Like, you can actually literally watch it in these team fights. Okay, kill the Kaiser. Fair enough. Kill the Pantheon, or do damage to the Pantheon. The Pantheon, at this point, is practically already fallen off. There is no focus on the Kassadin. To me, that would be the focus already. And yeah, he hasn't even become Kassadin yet. There is the Seraphs, by the way. It is now upgraded. But he's still got 3 minutes left of scaling all of his Rod of Ages. If you don't know, remember, Rod of Ages, when you buy it, starts on 0 stacks. It gains 1 stack per minute, up to 10 minutes, so 10 stacks in total. And when it gets to 10 stacks, you're getting a bunch of bonus stats. You're getting 200 more health, you're getting 100 more mana, and you're getting, 40 more ability power. It's a really strong item for, some champions once it's fully stacked. So when you have the Seraph and the fully stacked Rod, Kassadin becomes an absolute monster, and no one is slowing him down. It's not just slowing it down, because obviously at this point you can't stop him having those items, but now he's going to go back with gold, 2,100 gold in his pocket, because he hasn't been focused. It's weird, but yeah. Got his Dark Seal, and yes, he has gone for that Medjai's. With the Sheen, we'll be going that Lichbane build, which is fantastic for basically one-shotting most champions in the game if they're not a tank. And yeah, we'll just see how the mid to late game goes. Again, I don't know how long this game is. I'll have a look. It is not long to go. It is only about 5 minutes to go. And if you told me that this game is over in roughly 5 minutes, I would not believe it. I would think that this game at least has another 10 minutes in it, maybe even 15. Right now, neither team's base is open. Baron hasn't even been looked at yet. So how does this game end in roughly 5 minutes? Well, let's find out. Kassadin going aggressive. Enemy team need to be careful. Very aggressive play with the flash. Going for that 2v1. Misses the pike. Is then going to continue. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kassadin. Just straight up engages 2v1 versus the enemy bot lane. And yes, the Ezreal isn't very strong right now, but the pike is actually quite strong. Kassadin gives no cares. He's got his 2 items. He's got his Medjai. He's got his Sheen. Wham bam. Thank you, man. You're both dead. Meanwhile, by the way, Pantheon probably has a massive smile on his face. He's being allowed to just farm in bot lane. Kassadin's got to be careful. Does escape with his ultimate out of the Veigar E. Obviously, has to be... the counter, by the way, obviously, with Veigar, with the Kassadin, you can't just throw the E out compared to a lot of other mages. Veigar is effective with just catching people with having them in his E. No, Veigar has to land the E in order to stop the Kassadin. Right, engage happening again. No slowing down for this Kassadin. Veigar potentially out of position. Veigar flashes. Enemy team going to look to engage, and boom, they do one-shot him. But that all now is the focus on him. Leads the rest of his team to potentially win the rest of the team fight. So far has been a positive for blue team. Is going to continue, maybe not anymore. Pantheon going a little bit too crazy. They are going to back out, but that is in essence a 2-for-1. Not the best engage by Kassadin. Obviously, you can get why he did it, but he was a bit too alone. And without a Zhonya at this stage of the game, has to be a bit careful. Ezreal getting caught out, does die in the end, and that will potentially open the base for blue team. So yeah, this game has definitely turned, even though scaling-wise, blue team kind of get outscaled in a couple of avenues. The enemy team just isn't using strength, and you just saw there. Yay, they focused him, they got him. But he still managed to kill both bot lane before that. He also still did a bunch of damage before he died, and it was still only a 2-for-1 trade. Enemy team right now is desperately going for a fight. Why? Because Kassadin at the time wasn't there. He has now teleported in. Enemy team sense blood in the water, so they're going to continue going as much as they can, which is the correct move, because you've now got momentum. Senna potentially caught in top lane, is also going to die. Can Kassadin do anything here? Aatrox potentially going to be fighting the Kaiser. Senna goes down. Kassadin's going to come over. This is actually a pretty bad death. Kassadin going to continue? No, he doesn't. He backs off. Ezreal E's in, or I don't even know how he ended there. Teleport, I guess. and they will back off for now. Kassadin going to continue the fight. Whoa! Pyke makes a mistake. Double kill by Kassadin with the stopwatch burn. Can he do anything more? Does ultimate away. Is going to survive for now. Right side does finish off the kill, but with how much they're having to use spells on the Kassadin, can the blue team continue this fight with maintaining composure, pressure, etc.? Because remember, they've had to kill the Kassadin, they've had to use Vigor ultimate, they've had to use Rek'Sai ultimate, they've had to use flashes, they've had to use summoner spells, and they got him after he took down a couple of them. And now that, you know, in the end, finishes off the enemy team. Baron is now being done. Super minions are attacking their base. And yeah, it's just, this game is a weird even game to show, because it doesn't even look like Kassadin is absolutely owning, by the way. I have seen performance of Kassadin just taking off. He is doing well. He's 10, 3, and 5. That's a great KDA. That, you know, he might have even been close to Legendary at one point. So he's doing incredibly well, but it's the pressure of Kassadin. So you are actually now watching Red Team focus Kassadin. But before he dies, he's either killing a couple people, or he's getting enough damage on people that by the time he dies, the Red Team is at a disadvantage. That's Kassadin. It's pressure. It's all about pressure. So Kassadin's actually going to go back after just killing a wolf camp. Presumably he got some type of upgrade, which is going to be no upgrade. Oh, Zhonya's. He just bought a Zhonya's. There we go. So that's a pretty big upgrade. He desperately, by the way, would want level 16. Massive upgrade for Kassadin. Massive upgrade for most champions, if we're honest, but especially Kassadin with his ramping damage. And again, just to remind people how Kassadin works, every single time you ultimate, it costs increased mana, but if I'm not mistaken, it also goes up in damage. So each subsequent Rift Walk within the next 15 seconds doubles the mana cost of the previous one, but also adds a lot of damage. Basically, in essence, adds 100 damage per stack up to 4 times. So if you have maximum 4 stacks, you're adding 400 damage bonus for just having that stacked. 1 kill. He's going to... Okay, here's Kassadin. He's now showing up. 2 kills. He did walk into it without getting his ultimate off. That was unfortunate. He is maybe going to look to just push into the base. But yeah, worth knowing, Kassadin's ultimate by base damage does roughly maybe just over 400 at this point. Around 400. And then if you get maximum stacking, it does another 400 bonus. So just his ultimate alone will be doing roughly 800 damage. Let's say maybe 600 or 700 if you take into account magic resist. Does get another kill. So 600 to 700 magic damage every 3 seconds for his ultimate. Then he's also doing 500 damage with his Q. He's also doing auto attack damage that is 500 plus eventually a Lich Bane. Then he's also doing 600 damage with his E. So in essence, a fully stacked Kassadin with a, you know, ultimate that does maybe 600 damage with his Q, with his W, with his E, in essence can do probably at least 1500 damage, if not more, every few seconds. That's Kassadin. And also, you can't really flash away from him because he ults at you. He's got a teleport ultimate. Then also, with how his item build works, his natural item build is Rod of Ages and Seraphs. Sure, there isn't like much resistance there, but what that is health. He's got 2,400 health right now. That's quite a lot for a mid lane kind of assassin-y mage. If you compare it to Vigor, if we actually can have a little look, if Vigor is anywhere to be seen, oh, he's dead, so we can't look. But let's just have a look at some of the health. Oh, we can't. Okay, the replay's just not letting me anymore. But in essence, that's a lot of health for a mid lane mage, so he is actually a bit tanky as well. So add all this thing together, I truly do not understand how Kassadin has ignored nerfs for so long. He's been a problematic champion, at least in the higher ratings of play, for ages, for literally months, like for ages. And yes, statistically, overall 51% win rate, that doesn't look crazy. But that's why you should be balancing to overall win rate. When you have a player that is good on a champion, they know what they're doing. It's the same effect with Azir. Azir got nerfed at a 44% overall win rate, but Riot truly admitted we're nerfing it because it's too good in the higher ratings of play. It's the same as Kassadin. 100% the same. And honestly, I think Kassadin isn't even that hard to play, by the way. The only thing that is hard with Kassadin is having the patience of pulling the trigger to start, like, I'm going to start trying to carry now. You have to be patient and wait for that until you have both of your items, the 2 core items, then start looking to carry. But that's going to be it. Let me know what you think about Kassadin down below. To me, his damage is kind of crazy, and not just his damage, his pressure Like, he just can chase people down. It's just crazy. But that's going to be it. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.